right now, they're watching the first one or two, and unless you snag their attention, they're not going to watch the rest. It's just our attention spans are the way they are right now. I am seeing more people engage with non-video content and stories, so like an image with text over the top of it. People will take the time to read it if it's interesting.
Welcome to the Bold Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Kinnell, and this is a space where bold moves meet inspired action. Join us as we dive into stories, strategies, and mindset of those who are building their dreams, creating impactful communities, and redefining success on their terms. Whether you're looking for practical business tips, a boost of inspiration, or a community that gets your vision, you are in the right place. Get ready to elevate your journey and embrace what it means to be a bold founder. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the Bold Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Jen Kinnell, and today we are going to be diving into how to amplify brand growth through community, connection, and social media strategy with an absolute powerhouse in the marketing world, Shante Gormon. Shante is the founder of Sugar Punch Marketing, where she helps ambitious women grow their businesses with personalized content solutions. With over 17 years of marketing experience and a bachelor's degree in advertising design, she's mastered the balance of creativity and strategy to craft content that truly connects. She almost majored in video production, but after discovering the magic of marketing psychology, she knew she found her calling. Now she works alongside inspiring, unapologetic women from around the world to help them create the content that resonates and drives real results. If you've ever wondered how to build a community that truly connects with your brand, use social media effectively, or stay ahead of the marketing trends, this episode is for you. So let's dive in. Shante, I'm so excited to have you here. We were just talking about before, I started working with you at the beginning of my social media journey for owning my agency, and you were so helpful and impactful, and I just loved your heart and how much you really love what you do and how you support other women in business, but also for myself, how you supported me in growing my business and getting that established. So I really am excited for this conversation because I think it's going to be really, really impactful.
Thank you, Jen. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It's like a full circle moment, where we connected when you were at the beginning of your journey, and now here we are, and you're interviewing me on your podcast.
I'm so excited for it.
Who would have thought?
It's pretty amazing to see the women you meet on your travels, and then you can see them years down the road and be like, look at what you've done, and celebrate each other. I think it's pretty incredible.
It is. And it's always so rewarding to know that I had a little part of it, just a little stepping stool to help you get where you want to go.
You had a big part, so don't short sell yourself here. You had a big part.
Well,
you really helped me figure out how the business works and the what you should be charging, because that's all another total discussion we could get into. But I really did want to focus on the social media aspect because you really are killing it in that sense for yourself, but also for your clients. So that's kind of where we're going to start.
Sure.
I just feel like you've done such a great job at creating content that speaks directly to your target audience. And so what is your strategy behind that?
Ooh, okay. I could go on and on about strategy. But what always guides any strategy that I create is really digging into how my target audience thinks. I think about their buyer decision journey, which that calls back to the marketing psychology, the sales psychology, the things that they think about as they're getting ready to purchase from me. And maybe they're not totally, they don't totally know that they're getting ready to purchase. They're becoming aware of me. That's step number one. Step number two is interest. I'm kind of becoming memorable and recognizable for them. Step three is consideration, where they're like, oh, this is interesting. Is this something I would be interested in, purchasing? Maybe they're comparing, shopping around. And then step four is the actual purchase. So that's how I structure my strategy for social, for my content, for anything that I'm putting out, is where does it fit within this section? And what kind of information do they need within those different sections?
Okay, so when you're creating that, you're basically creating the funnel strategy where you're taking it from the very top and then bringing them all the way down. And so when you're structuring your content for that, are you always like let's say how many things are you dropping on your social media that are specifically geared to new people who aren't aware that they might want to work with you? And then how much are you focusing down on like the sell portion of it?
It depends on what my goals are at that time. If I'm really wanting to grow my social, I'll focus more on the awareness and the interest pieces because that's what really grabs their attention. They're more likely to share it. It really pushes to the explore page. And when I want more conversions, then I'm pushing more of the consideration type content, the direct call to action content. And then sometimes I kind of just cycle through all four. It really,
Yeah.
again, depends on what my goals are at the time.
Okay, are you mapping this out? Because I like to map stuff out where I'm like, okay, this month I'm going to focus on this. And so you are mapping this out and figuring out kind of what
I'm
months are going to be your strategy for selling.
honestly, no. I am more inspired and more excited if I only plan like 2 to 3 weeks ahead. So if I'm like, okay, I know what I'm going to be promoting in March because I know what offers coming out, like that's good for me. But if I plan out like June, July, August, and it's February right now, I am not excited or inspired when it comes time to create content for that. So I don't like to plan at that far ahead.
No, I mean more in the sense that, like, okay, so let's say in August you're going to launch something. So you know
Yeah.
that that's coming, but you're not planning the actual content for it.
Right, right,
But you
right.
just have,
Yes.
like, the idea that it's coming. So you do
Yes.
use that strategy. Okay.
I
I love
do,
that strategy
yes.
just to keep you, like, somewhat organized and prepared so that you can, like, start all your cats in the background. So you can start, like, preparing your audience for what's to come and getting them excited and part of the anticipation for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about is with social media, a lot of business owners don't know exactly who they're talking to. A lot of them are very broad, and that can be a bit of a fear thing where they don't want to narrow down to their niche so that they're talking to a specific somebody. But the problem with doing that is then you speak with too many people. So how do you recommend that they get really clear on who their ideal audience is?
Yeah. My point of view isn't the most popular because it's not the easiest. It's not like a, quick shortcut, here's how to find it. It's work with a bunch of different types of people, see who it is that you really connect with, who you're attracting, what their specific pain points are. You can usually kind of pick out a pattern. And this is kind of how I found my niche of working with service providers or women who are like the face of their brand, is that's just kind of who I was talking to and who I was attracting. And they all had the same pain points, same group structure. And then I really started leaning into that and experimenting with talking about the different pain points for those specific types of people. So my niche kind of found me, and that's what I kind of recommend for other people. It takes time, years and years, which isn't always, the most fun advice to follow. A lot of people are looking for like that magic bullet, but that's what I recommend doing is get to know the people that you're serving, get to know what their pain points are, and then talk about those specifically.
I really like this because as we were talking before we started recording everything, we were saying how you have to work with certain people to realize that they're not your ideal client. And until you work with those people, you don't know, right? So that is a good thing about what you just said is you kind of start working with people, you start figuring out who's like being magnetized to you, and you start to realize who you want more of and who you want less of. And so I do agree fully, even though yes, I agree it's also like yeah, but I just want to know who it is.
Right.
It would be, it does work so much better in the long run when we start to go through that growth process of learning who the person is we want to talk to, and then also who do we not want to talk to. And I think learning who you don't want to talk to, and who you don't want to magnetize into your audience is really, really important. Because obviously we don't want more of those type of people. We want the people that we like enjoy working with, and we
Yeah.
like seeing them like shine and supporting them.
Exactly. Yeah. And, and until you work with that type of person, you may not know that you're not a fan of working with that type or that type of industry or, whatever it
Yeah.
is. You don't know until you experience it.
Yep. Yeah. Even with my social media agency, like I feel like the people that I'm working with now, they're absolutely incredible clients, and they were not on my radar before.
Yeah.
Like I loved the women owned businesses, and not that I don't still love them, but I just like my clients right now. I'm like, oh, they're amazing. Like this is so perfect. So yeah, you think you know what you want, and then you realize maybe it's not it.
Yeah, exactly. And
Hmm.
you would never know. It's a journey. You have to
Hmm.
take the journey. There's no shortcuts to the journey. You just have to do it.
As much as we would love the shortcuts,
Yeah.
there is no shortcuts. And if you think you've got one, the world is going to show you that you don't.
Yes, exactly. Yep. It's not shoots and ladders. You just gotta truck it.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit beyond social media because what I really love is that you've got communities built outside of social media that are really powerful for your audience. And so I want to talk about specifically your membership community. I'm part of this community, and I think that what you're offering is so incredible. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about it and then why it was important for you to create this space?
Yes, absolutely. So I have a community space. Um, it runs a lot like a Facebook group, but it's not actually hosted on Facebook. I host it through Circle, which is a software platform. And the way that I do it, there's a segment of this community that is totally free. Any social media manager can join. They can ask questions. They can get support and advice from each other. There's also a section where I have a lot of like my content where they can learn from and how to's and tutorials, and they can access all of that. And then this kind of funnels them into my paid classes, which Jen was a part of when I had it as like a group program. And it was all sold like together, but now they're individual classes, so you can pick and choose what you want to focus on. Like if you need help with pricing, you can buy the pricing class. If you need help with strategy, you can buy the strategy class. And so we have people who are kind of taking the journey, they're guiding their journey themselves based on what skill levels they need. And then I show up every week, no matter what class people have purchased, no matter how long it's been, and I sit for an hour and I do Q&A. I will give them feedback on whatever it is they're working on, or a lot of the times we're talking about difficult clients and how to handle them and platform updates and all of that. So that's how I run it.
I think it's pretty amazing that you do that because, like, with being so focused on social media and then taking it off social media, I love how you're still creating that same strategy, that funnel strategy
Mm-hmm.
within your community and then growing them, but really supporting your target niche. So, we've really taken everything we've just talked about and like put it into another little membership for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I think it's really great because it's such a good resource for your audience to come in and find information, but then also for them to discover other ways of working with you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Mhm.
gotten to the point now where, if a new social media manager comes in and they ask, oh, does anybody have any ideas for like pricing or strategy? And then other members of the community will be like, oh, Shante has a class for that, or Shante has a template for that. And so they're kind of or I guess not self promoting, they're promoting what it is that they've purchased from me, and it has like a social proof effect. And so it's just been really cool to kind of see that develop.
That's so amazing. And that just is such proof that you're like really helping these people that are in your community because if they've found it useful, then they're definitely going to start sharing it, which is why they're doing that for you, which is so awesome.
It is. It's really cool.
Okay, so I want to ask you also, this is a question that I get asked all the time, so of course I have to hand it over to you as well. With social media always changing, do you think that businesses should rely less on it or should they focus on more of their own platforms like memberships and email lists?
Ooh, okay. It really, it really depends on the business and who their target audience is. Some of them would be willing to download another app, like Circle, for instance. The reason I chose not to do a Facebook group because social media managers already spend so much time on social that they didn't want to spend more time in a Facebook group, for example. They like being able to have a separate app that's not really, work client related, where it's just for them. And so that makes sense. If I were to be marketing it toward a business owner who just needs help with content, um, they may not want an extra app to download. Like they may want, okay, I'm just going to go on Facebook and hurry up and message something or comment something or read some posts while I'm, eating lunch or whatever. So it really, again, depends. But overall, I think a full content marketing funnel is helpful. So you're not relying just on like the social media algorithms to connect with people. You have social, you have an email strategy happening. Maybe there's some blog posts, maybe a podcast. Again, it is a lot of work. So like having them all work together and creating for all of that is a lot. So you kind of have to pick and choose. But yeah, a full funnel, just like that follows the sales psychology that we were talking about, is the best one to do.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so when we're talking about email lists, what do you recommend people do to get people on their email list? So is it stories? Is it reels? Is it like call to actions all the time in their captions? Like what do you recommend? Because that's probably the number one place that people should start with their businesses, getting people off social and onto their own list.
Yes. My favorite way to do this is, it could be a reel or a carousel, but I love using DM automations. The tool I like to use is ManyChat. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you can connect it so that people don't even have to leave the social media platform in order to get onto your email list. They can message you with their email address, and the tech will plug it in automatically to your email software. So I love using that. They give me like a code word, or I tell them to prompt me with a code word, and then I'll get them signed up for the email list that way. Sometimes I just promote, this is a weekly newsletter. Here's the stuff that's in it. It's free. Drop your email here and we'll get you signed up for it. Other times I have a lead magnet, depending on specifically what it is that they need. And that email or that lead magnet usually has some kind of email automation attached to it to sell a specific offer. So again, totally depends on what it is that I am trying to sell or what it is I'm doing, but that's my favorite way to get people off social and onto an email list.
Okay, I really love ManyChat. I find it so helpful to be able to just say, here, comment event, and then it automatically DMs them, and then you can follow up. I do think that it's nice to have somebody like actually follow up with the DM that was sent, but it just simplifies it for myself, but also for your audience. Like, it's so easy for them to just say, yeah, I want this. Even like I've done this with influencers, and I've been like, I like this outfit. Can I see the whole thing? Like, I just feel like it's such a good strategy that can be implemented. And there is a free version, which doesn't allow you to select like specific posts, and then, which is great to be able to like dabble in it. And then there's a paid version. So I just think it's like so much better and easier for yourself. Like, anything we can do to take ourselves out of doing all of the like tasks is huge.
Yeah. And then the people who are prompting for that link, they're getting it right away. They don't have to wait for you to come back online or anything like that. They get it, you get it to them while it's still hot, and that's more conversions for you. There's no like wait time or downtime.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so when we're talking about social media trends, I want to ask you what you see coming up next for social media. Like, what trends are coming for this year that business owners should be paying attention to?
Yeah, so this one, obviously video is still going to be huge. But I think we're going to be seeing more of a TikTok style of video content moving over to Instagram and YouTube, where it's not quite so polished. There's not quite as many effects and transitions happening. It's not like that, wow, this is so cool, I'm going to keep watching because I don't know what's going to happen next. It's going to be a lot more back in the old days, like how Instagram stories used to be, where we were just kind of chatting and it feels like we're FaceTiming with a friend. I think that's the direction we're headed, because the overproduced content, I think it's seen its day, and now we're ready to go back to, just kind of something original, relaxing, informative, entertaining, but still it's not like ba 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 ba, everything's happening at once.
Yeah. I do think that our audiences have started to understand like the overproduced and the curated, and they're getting tired of it. And so one thing I always tell anybody I work with or even just talk to is that just be real. Like, don't be afraid to go on and think it's not perfect. People gravitate so much more to not perfect. They like real people, relatable people. And when you overproduce things and everything's perfect and curated and like, yeah, I enjoy the transitions. I think they're so much fun to do. But I agree, like if you're coming on social, just be real and mess up a little bit. That is okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually been seeing this with my own social media clients too, where we're shifting away from sending them a script to record on their own because they're so worried about, I need to say this perfectly, or I need to rearrange how I'm saying this, that it feels very robotic and like their personality doesn't shine through. And a lot of times their personality is what attracts people to them. So instead, we are now kind of doing a content interview Zoom style where they set up their phone and that's the footage we use, but they're talking to us. And so they're being themselves, they're answering questions, and it just shows their personality. It feels very them, very authentic. It's not like overproduced, and they're performing really, really well.
That's amazing because I agree. Like, if you were to go on and say, these are my talking points, and here's what I need to say, you feel structured and rigid, and it comes across in your personality. And what really sells on social media, but everything really is you. It's the way you talk about something, the way you get excited about this little details, and it's really just like the passion you have behind whatever it is you're offering, selling, promoting, whatever it is. You can do that so much more than a script ever can. And so I love that you've seen this happening and that you've actually already started guiding your clients to that, because I really do believe that the way we get excited and we bring our community along for the journey, this gets them excited with us.
Exactly. They can feel it. They can sense it. Everybody's in the ride together.
Yeah. So one of the questions I have too is that they are like, we were already pushing carousels a little bit. Like, so Reels have kind of like started to share a little bit with carousels. What do you think of Reels versus carousels?
I think it depends on your audience, honestly, of what they prefer. My audience really loves my carousels. I don't know if it's my voice for Reels or like what, but my Reels just don't perform quite as well as my carousels do. So my audience loves carousels, but I have plenty of clients, and I know there's plenty of other social media people out there that their Reels do amazing, and people love watching those, and they'll share and everything. So it really depends on the audience, and I think your personality and your style too.
Yeah, I agree. I actually find that Reels do better for me. But I do love a good carousel because one, it gets shown twice, but then there's like, I like reading through the information that you can put into a carousel. But I think that like, I just personally, I love to do Reels. So I think they're fun and you can really like smile, and I like to be playful on them. But it is very interesting to see that and to look at your stats. So if you're listening to this and you're going, I have no idea. Well, go into your Instagram and then start looking at your stats to see which is being viewed more, which is like getting more engagement. Like what would you recommend that they do if they wanted to look at their own accounts?
Yeah. It depends on your goal. I mean, I don't know how many times I've said this. I feel like a broken record. It depends on your goal, but you want to look at saves and shares. Is there a certain format that is getting more of those? And that can kind of help you guide it. I do have some clients, their Reels and their carousels perform pretty evenly. So then we split it into Reels usually get shown more easier to brand new people, non-followers, versus carousels take a little bit longer to get going. So if we are creating awareness content or interest content, we usually format that as a reel. If we want trust building, consideration, more in-depth strategy type content, then we do that as a carousel.
Okay.
Because that's reaching your current followers first.
And I would 100% agree on that. Like, the carousels don't seem to go as much into the explore page. You see them occasionally, not that often though. Like even just when I'm scrolling. But what do you think about stories now? How should people be using their stories?
Yeah, I think the way that people are using them it's always changing, honestly. But I think right now people are they're watching the first one or two, and unless you snag their attention, they're not going to watch the rest. It's just our attention spans are the way they are right now. I am seeing more people engage with non-video content and stories, so like an image with text over the top of it. People will take the time to read it if it's interesting. You know, you still need like a good
Yeah.
hook, so builds curiosity. um, but those tend to perform best versus like a talking head video. People are kind of over the talking head videos and stories, in my opinion.
I do kind of agree. Like, I think you can't have, it's such a weird mix. The social media world is such a weird mix. Like, you can't have too
Yeah.
many graphics. You can't have too many graphics in a row. You need to have some talking heads in there, but you can't just like sit there and talk on your phone now. People also need to have like, it's almost like they need movement, something more exciting to
Yeah.
happen in the background also. So it's very interesting to see how people are watching stories and like the psychology behind it. Like, why are they clicking past certain ones? Why are they getting pulled into other ones? What is the
Mm-hmm.
content that's pulling them in? It's really interesting if everybody actually just stopped for a moment and kind of just paid attention to like how their social media is being like consumed.
Yeah.
The difference that they could probably start to see some of the like things that are just consistently happening, and then realize that they can start pulling more of that kind of content. However, that takes time, which is typically why people do
Yes.
hire social media managers, because it takes a lot of analyzing, and not over a short period of time. You need a long period of time, which means you need to have a consistent strategy. So it's
Yep.
very, the whole social media world is definitely like a monster.
Yeah. There's so much to it. And then, of course, they're always adding new features and new things to test and all of that. So, you know, they're always giving us a run for our money.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, another question. This is one I get all the time also. With so many platforms out there, is there a specific platform that we should be focusing our marketing efforts on?
Ooh, okay. One that I have really been loving is Threads. I feel like their algorithm is really good. Like, I'm not going to say it's TikTok level algorithm, but it is much better than Instagram's algorithm. And I think it's because it's really great at picking up on keywords that you're interested in. You don't necessarily even have to use hashtags to reach the right people. And it's just been really, really great at being very targeted. And I've connected with a lot of really amazing people, a lot of really amazing businesses, leads. I've gotten sales through it just from, you know, posting my thought leadership content, but also posting random things about what it is I'm doing or enjoying or thought process about different things.
Mhm.
And it's been really fun. And it's also a lot easier because it's just text based. There's no videos you have to make, there's no graphics you have to make. You just type up a little post and you hit post and it's done.
Okay, for somebody who hasn't fully dabbled in Threads, and I'm actually
Yeah.
one of those people, I'm on it, but I'm like, I haven't really gone fully into it. What do you recommend is a good starting point?
For posting or just using it?
Both.
Okay. For just using it, they now allow you to like favorite a keyword. So you can type your favorite little keyword, so like social media, for example, and favorite it. And then they have a specific feed where any post that has mentioned social media kind of goes in there. And you can sort it by the top posts based on what's most engaged, which is kind of where I like to hang out. Um, or you can kind of dabble in posting yourself. And ones that work really well, especially if you're just starting and you're kind of trying to find your people, is the post where it says, "Hey, algorithm, connect me with," and then you have a list of the different types of people you want to connect with. So, like entrepreneurs, business owners, consultants, strategists, and somehow it does its magic and it starts showing that post to those people. People will respond and be like, "Hey, that's me." And you know, you can kind of connect that way. You can follow each other. But those do really, really well. You can also do it where it's like values based of like entrepreneurs who believe in X, Y, and Z. Um, all kinds of stuff like that where I would never have connected with those people on Instagram just because of how much content and everything that's going out. But with Threads, you can be specific about that. Um, And then you can post about a bunch of different stuff and it will show that specific thread to a specific type of person that it's relevant to. So you can churn out as much content as you want, really. The more you put out, the better chance you have of it being seen by the right person.
Well, and I have also seen that it'll show up in my Instagram notifications that there's a thread that you might be interested in. So that is very interesting to see that too. Yes. And then really what you were saying also comes all back down to that target audience, that ideal audience we talked about earlier, right? Where you're like, okay, algorithms show me more of this type of person, like this entrepreneur, like you had said. And if we know who that person is, it's amazing how we can use social media, especially threads, to like really help us find more of that type of person.
Exactly. It's been really great. And I've seen so many of those threads go viral. So it's a great way to connect.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm going to definitely have to put more of an effort in.
You should. You should try it. I love it.
Okay, what do you think about LinkedIn then?
I have mixed feelings about LinkedIn. I keep hearing people say, you should be on LinkedIn, you know, you need your thought leadership content over there. So I'm active over there and like I'm posting like my best thought leadership posts that I create from Instagram over there. But I'm still running into the people who are responding are men who have the audacity, if that's how we want to put it, where they just want to challenge you because you're a woman. Yeah. So I haven't found like the nice side of LinkedIn yet. So I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm showing up there in hopes that my audience does find me over there.
I am doing the same. I'm over there and I'm posting, but I don't know that there's really a whole lot coming from it. Not that I've seen anyways, but like, yes, I've heard everyone says, yes, LinkedIn is where you should be. It is like my community. I love women entrepreneurs. Like there's definitely a lot of entrepreneurs over there. But again, it's also not like quite, for me personally, it's not quite like converting to anything. Even finding the right type of people just for your community. I haven't quite nailed it over there yet.
Yeah. I think it's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you what you have coming up next. So I know that you are launching season 2 of your podcast. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your podcast and what we can learn from it?
Yeah. So my podcast is Social Media Manager Confidential, and it's all about the real talk of being a social media manager in this day and age. It's often blown out of proportion of like, oh, this is so easy. You just post for someone and like you get paid, but that's not it. Social media is a lot of hard work. We've talked about all of the different aspects for being in social and managing people and finding clients and then talking to clients and just all of the stuff that goes into it. That's what I talk about, as well as strategies and advice. And I bring on other well-known social media managers so we can kind of talk shop. And, you know, it's just like a relaxed, cozy chat with your industry friends. So that's what this season is going to be about. Its first episode is March 7th, so it'll be out when this podcast comes out. So come listen.
That's awesome. Okay, and you also offer strategy retreats, templates, and masterclasses. So can you share how these have helped your business and business owners refine their content strategy and marketing approach?
Absolutely. So the strategy retreat is like my mini done for you offer for people who can't or aren't ready for full social media management yet. So I come in, I do an exploration call with them, just like my regular management clients. I build out a content strategy for them, and then I give them a 30-day content calendar based on that, and they can go and implement that themselves. So that saves them some time, some finances, and then when they're ready, they can come to us for the full execution side of it. And then when it comes to the templates and the master classes, those are specifically for social media managers who either they're just getting started or they're ready to be more organized. I have templates for like a marketing proposal. I have a pricing calculator template. I have case studies, like anything that you need for your business, there's a template for. And the classes, like I mentioned earlier, those are specific to the different topics. There's one on like onboarding and workflows. There's one on pricing. There's one on creating engaging content with the copywriting and design and video editing. And like, there's something for everybody.
That's awesome. And I cannot recommend you enough when it comes to supporting social media managers, because like when I started, it's just such a learning process, and there really isn't anybody who's really teaching you, or there's nowhere you can find that tells you like, okay, here's what you should be charging. Here's how many hours you should be doing. Like I believe when we started working together, it was like, it's the wild, wild west.
Yeah.
Right. And it still kind of is like that, really. And it's so interesting to see like the insights of a social media agency and management company, because like you said, people, they're like, oh, it should be so easy. Like, what exactly goes into this? Like, it's a lot of hours, but then also the number of like things you have to look at constantly, the changes in the algorithm, the changes in audience and what they're responding to. There's just so much you have to really look at. And then also integrating that strategy of taking new followers and funneling them down to people that eventually want to work with you, right? Like it's very, I find it very interesting, which is obviously why we both do this, but it's a lot.
It is a lot. And unless you're like trying to do it yourself, you don't realize how much is involved in it until you're like in it.
For sure. All right. So those are all of my questions, but I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you wanted to discuss or leave us with a piece of advice before we are done recording today?
Ooh, okay. The advice that I will leave is test everything out. If you find a strategy that you're like, that's it, that's the gold nugget, that's what I'm going to do, test it out. Don't like be like, this is the thing that's going to make me successful. Test it out. Test out the different strategies, the different topics, the different trends you see. Always test it out yourself to see if it actually works, or if people are just saying that it actually works.
I feel like that's with everything in business nowadays. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff people are like, oh, this is going to work for you. And it doesn't always work for you or your audience, right? So we always have to test it out. And by learning and trying things is how we really like discover what works and what doesn't work, who we want to work with. Like, this going through the whole conversation.
Exactly.
I think that's the best parting words. Yes. Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much. Where can my audience find you?
Yeah, I am in all the places at Sugar Punch Marketing. Instagram is my main. I love Instagram, but I also have YouTube, LinkedIn, like I said, Threads, Pinterest, podcast, and all of my resources and everything you can just find on my website, sugarpunchmarketing.com.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Chad. I had so much fun.
All right. I'm so excited that Shante got to join us today, because she really is such a powerhouse, and she has helped me personally so much with my business growth and my strategy. And so I really, really wanted her to come on and support you guys when it came to really, I think we dived mostly into social media, which is very different for our podcast, because we do dive a lot more into women and their strategies, but I just love the knowledge that Shante has to share. And so I wanted to do a couple of key takeaways from today's episode. One is that content strategy, where we think, okay, what are our goals? Who's our target audience? But how do we want to bring them in? So what level of the marketing funnel are they at? Are they at the beginning, where they're just coming in, where we need to kind of warmly welcome them into our content and who we are? And then when do we start to funnel it down to actually asking them for the sale or to work with us? And so I love that discussion, because I think a lot of the times it's really easy to focus in on the sale of it and how the sale can feel icky, versus how we can actually bring people in from the top of the funnel by really welcoming them into our business and giving them a lot of knowledge and information from us, so that they can see us as their go-to person, their expert, their marketing person for their business. And so I really loved that idea of thinking about our content and our strategy towards it, but instead of thinking of it as our stuff, it is how can we support our community, our audience, and support them within our content strategy. Okay, the number 2 takeaway I have was building beyond social. I really like this discussion because I get asked it all the time. So how can we build beyond social? Because social media, we talk about the algorithms and it's ever changing. So how can we do something where we own it? So we did talk about the email list, which I think is the very, very first thing that we need to really discuss when it comes to building our off social media powerhouse lists and communities. She did talk about her membership, which I think is so incredible, how she really thought about her audience and where they would want to be. As a social media manager myself, I do find that I would not want to be on Facebook as much because we spend so many hours on there. And so having it off of Facebook and on Circle was so nice because it's also so nice and organized. It's a totally different format. It is specifically for that. But then thinking about your target audience, because if her audience wasn't social media managers, maybe they would want to have Facebook. So I really like the idea of creating these communities, but deciding where is best for them, right? So I think that's really important. The third takeaway, social media trends. Oh, this is an ever-changing, constantly switching up. It's like such a difficult thing to talk about, but I really love that we got to have this conversation because it's so different for every single person. What was working for one person may not work as well for others. For example, I personally find Reels work better for me, and she finds carousels work better for her. So it really kind of says, okay, let's not say this is the exact strategy that we need to go with, but instead let's look and see what works for you and what works for your audience and what is converting the most. So that is really, really powerful. And I think that leads us into our fourth key takeaway, which is thinking about what do we need to try in our business. Like, I don't want you to think that, okay, this strategy is exactly what works, because it's the same thing when we talk about the social media trends. We want to try things out, see if it works. If it doesn't work, let's tweak it. Maybe it's a totally different strategy altogether. And no matter what, by trying to figure out what's working for you, you're going to figure out what doesn't work and what does work, and you can start focusing on more of the things that do work. And so I love this conversation because it really is a lot about the nitty-gritty and the bones of our business and how we can improve it and how we can use social media to really help further that. Because social media really is such a powerful tool that connects us. It can be aggravating, but at the same time, if we really listen to the cues and to look at the engagement and the saves and the likes and all that stuff, that really does help us understand what our strategies are, what works for us, what our goals are, and what our audience is looking for more from us. So I hope you loved today's episode. I found it so powerful and informative, and also maybe because I'm a social media manager that I loved being able to like dive a little bit deeper with somebody who understands the language and the struggle of it sometimes, but also the incredible successes that can come from it. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. If today's episode got you thinking about surrounding yourself with like-minded women in business, then you need to be at the upcoming Be Bold Experience 2025 event on October 7th. This is a powerful one-day event to surround yourself with incredible women, grow your business, build meaningful connections, plan your goals, your vision, and action steps for the rest of 2025 and into 2026. You do not have to do business alone. The women you are going to meet at this event will become your BFFs, which is your Bold Founder family. Tickets are available right now. Click the link in the show notes to grab yours, and I will see you there.